Hello and welcome to the Made Creative Podcast, your monthly podcast of creativeness. My name is Sam and I'm joined today by...
Hi, I'm Connor. I'm co-founder of Made Creative, and we have got a very special guest with us today, which is Kirsten. We'll learn a little bit more about her in a bit, but for now...
We just want to start the podcast by saying last month we gave our sound guy a hard time, named Calvin, and a week later we found out that he was moving to Victoria, so I feel terrible about that. But we just want to say Calvin was here from the start of helping us kind of come up with the channel and do all the sound stuff and everything, and we just want to say thanks so much, Calvin.
Yeah, huge thank you.
You were a big help. We really appreciate it, and we're praying and we're hoping that your move to Victoria is going to be great for you and you're going to enjoy the job you got there, but we're going to miss you, and we're so thankful for everything you've done, and yeah, just have a great time, man. So.
Yeah, I mean, Kelvin's mentioned to me that he still very much wants to be a part of the Made Creative team, so definitely still consider him a team member, and you know, I guess a family member even in our little Made Creative family we've got going.
Yeah. So the second thing that we kind of want to talk about at the start of the podcast is that this month, July, there's 5 weeks in the month, and so we're planning an extra video. And the extra video that we're planning to do is something that we've kind of been hoping to do with the channel for a while, and so we're hoping that this comes together well. At this stage, we're not sure. But what we're hoping is to get an artist that's separate to what we do, who's writing music around God and that sort of thing, and they're going to showcase one of their songs on the channel, and then next month they'll be on the podcast. And it kind of falls into line with what we're doing at Made Creative in terms of we want to encourage other people to give things a go creatively. That's really why we started, was that we want this to be a platform for other people as well. So hopefully at the end of the month, that 5th week, you'll see someone else on the channel for the first time showing off one of their songs, and we'll be chatting to them in the next month.
Yeah, we'll bring them on as the next guest, and we'll sort of have a chat to them about it.
Yeah.
So that'll be really exciting, yeah.
So fingers crossed it works out, and it could be really cool. And that's what we're hoping to do more. But today we have a very special guest. She is our keyboardist for the Made Creative Worship Band, Kirsten. So hi, Kirsten. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Kirsten.
Yeah.
Yep, cool.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job. So, Kirsten, you're our keyboardist. What do you kind of do with yourself just in general in life and at the moment?
I play the piano.
Yes, that's true. You do.
I just finished uni.
Yeah, like
for,
finish
for the semester.
for the semester.
Right,
So what do you
okay.
do at uni?
I'm music education student.
Music education
Yeah.
student. So you're hoping to, at the end of that, teach music essentially.
Yeah.
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 Nice. And how are you finding that?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard, but it's challenging, but it's good.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like
So-
playing music.
So how did you get involved with Made Creative Worship?
Like, what's the story? Tell us
Yeah.
the story of how it all happened, how it all went down.
Ruben messaged me. Ruben messaged me one night, and I think I packed it as soon as I saw it. But then he reassured me that I don't have to be too stressed, and I was worried that I wasn't good enough to be in a band. But
Which she was very wrong about, by the way. Just make that abundantly clear.
Very-
She is very,
very
very,
wrong.
very capable.
Very talented.
and then I came and met everyone. I think
Where'd you meet us?
I met you at Nando's.
Not sponsored, but Nando's if you want to. Yeah,
It was good,
we
though.
we met. We met for the first time at Nando's. We all sort of got together and had a chat about. We showed her all the songs.
Yeah, we went to Nando's and then we had a jam afterwards.
Yeah, that's right. We went and had a jam afterwards, so that sort of solidified her position. So we were super happy with it. So
Yeah. How'd you find the jamming?
Yeah, good. I was nervous. I was nervous. I think I was nervous till like the fifth jam together.
yeah, probably.
But no, it was good. And because I knew Ruben, and then I actually ended up knowing the other guys. Well, I didn't know you. I knew you from knowing my sister.
Yeah.
And I knew Callum.
Yeah.
From
other things. Yeah, cool. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, nice. Cool. That's good. So, and then we met like ages later because I wasn't at that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
randomly.
At the
But
church, yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't remember each other's names. That's
Yeah.
okay.
No, that's true actually, wasn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
That's
I
really
felt really
awkward.
bad.
That classic awkward thing where you're like trying to hope that someone else says someone's name and
Okay.
gets it right.
Okay, can we
Yeah.
just talk about this for a second? Because Connor, in the car on the way there, I was like, okay, so what's the keyboardist name? And he's like, it's Kristen or it's Kirsten.
I
It's
was like,
Kristen.
I don't
or
know
it's
why,
Kirsten.
but I always got it confused at the start.
It's
and I was like,
Kirsten. No, it's Kristen. And so for so long, I had to, in my head, do the mental gymnastics of, is it Kirsten or is it Kristen?
No,
Absolutely.
everyone calls me Kristen. Or not everyone, that's a lie. But lots of people do sometimes. But yes.
I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I do still have to do that mental gymnastics.
No.
Just because of him. It's all because of him.
yeah, well, I had to do it because of my own fault as well.
Crazy
so
brain.
I understand that totally. But now we've all got it down now. It's Kirsten.
Yes.
So we won't forget that
No.
ever again.
See, because I didn't know your name until I did know your name, but then I forgot it a couple of times.
That's fine.
But then I would just say, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, I know you.
Yeah. And then you just like trying to look to other people. I'm like, just say his name. Slide it in
Yeah.
the conversation.
Yeah, it's like,
Help. Cool.
Yeah.
So you're studying at Whopper, keys,
Mm.
and then education.
Mm.
So you do a lot of, I guess, covers and stuff for songs as
Yes.
part of that. Yeah, nice. When you
Sorry.
kind of, my dog's just
yeah.
under me. When you got hold of our songs, the completely original songs, so how was that kind of trying to come up with things and do keys for things that didn't exist?
Yeah, it was very different. That's one of the things I was worried about when because I'd never done any creating before. I like it because it's sort of like I ended up the way I did it was I'd lay down or something and listen to the song and then sing something that I reckon would sound good in it or something like that, and then try and find it on the piano, and then I'd show you.
Yeah, cool. And it was almost... So Kirsten is like really, really talented keys player, and in a couple of the practices I've just sort of thrown some stuff at her, which has been pretty ruthless. I've just been like, can you do this just wild thing for me? And she's just been like, oh yeah, sure. So like that's been sort of the journey a little bit, but Kirsten's like really good at coming up with like new original stuff. She came up with like pretty much all of it. She's sort of like, yeah, very independent in terms of like coming up with her own creative parts.
Yeah.
So
It's very funny, like now when we're kind of developing these songs, there's kind of like split up into two groups where it's like you and Kirsten go off and you're like, can you try and do this? And at the same time, me, Luke and Ruben are kind of off on the side going like, oh, what are we going to do for drums?
yeah.
At the same time, we're kind of split off and we come back and we're like, we'll show you what we're doing.
Yeah.
We'll show you what you're doing. So it's cool. So what's been kind of some of the challenges though of trying to figure out new stuff as opposed to, like just cover stuff where you already know what you're playing?
Oh, well, the thing of not having to, like, when it's a cover, you listen to it and then you don't have to think about what it is. It's like, okay, they're playing that. Okay, I have to figure out how to play it. So it's like it's a different way of doing it. And then with coming up with something, it's like you have to come up with yourself. It can't be anything that's copied off any other song, and all of that stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And what is your favourite song of the ones that we've kind of put
Oh,
together?
this is a real test here.
Yeah,
What's your favourite Made Creative worship song?
I quite like Feel This Place.
Oh, I love Feel This Place too.
Yeah.
It's a fun song.
But it's
Yeah.
mainly because it's fun to play because I got that cool
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
that you came up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Kirsten does this weird thing on keys where her hands just work
Or
in a
flow
way
in the
that's-
opposite direction, and
Yeah.
it hurts my brain to watch, but it's cool. Like, it's very cool.
It's very fun to watch. But
Um,
Feel This Place is actually the song that'll come out next month. So you will get to hear why Kirsten likes it so
Yeah.
much. You'll be also able to time the end of it as well, which is always fun.
Yeah.
That'll make more sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the keys of that is like, see, when she says that I sort of helped it, all I was like, could you do this? And she's like, oh, well, and then she just played it and I was like, oh, wow. So that was, that's the one. I can't really take any credit for it. I just threw a random idea out there and she really solidified it.
Yeah.
So,
You're very talented.
Mm.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you.
it's very cool. So how does God work through music for you? Like how you play keys, or enjoyment of worship songs, or whatever it is. How does God work through music for you?
Well, I think being able to play piano, like mainly through my church and stuff. I play church. I play church. I play piano at church, and then it's the whole thing of being able to help the church worship. Did that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it made sense.
Yeah. I was going to try and talk more about it, but then
Isn't
I
it?
think
It's
I
good.
got it out properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So trying to help other people worship is
Yeah.
kind of how God works through you in
Yeah.
music,
Yeah.
is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
cool.
Yeah.
And then also like just being able to worship. Yeah.
So what
Worshiping
you're
the
what you're kind of saying is, if I can sort of put it into terms, is like you feel that you're like a vessel, and like you can show and show and teach and worship with other people, and you have that action.
Mm.
Yeah, cool.
Through playing keys. Yeah,
Through
nice.
playing keys. Yeah.
And like, where do you personally feel closest to God?
That's a pretty deep question, just to throw out a.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Why not? Well, let's get deep.
Yeah.
It's hard because God. I think God's everywhere, but then I always love. I really, I very much care for my family, so I think when we're all together and we're having a good time, or going to things like church together, it's sort of very much there.
Mm.
Yeah, nice. That's cool. That's a
Yeah.
really cool way.
That's
of
a
doing
really
it.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kirsten helped us perform the song "Returning Hope," which is the one that came out this month, 2 weeks ago. You performed it first time in front of a camera.
Yep.
It's a big thing for you, isn't
Mm.
it? Being in front of a camera. It's new, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
to do it a couple of times.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did. But so she played that, and we haven't fully put that together as a band, but essentially the vocals and the keys are what's going to be in the full band thing.
Yeah. So it's going to be it's always going to be a pull back sort of a song. You know?
But yeah, tell us about kind of working on that song, what you enjoy about that song, how it is for you.
I like how it's a bit more chilled because a lot of the other songs are pretty.
pretty upbeat. Yeah.
Yeah,
Lots of the ones we've already done are upbeat. Yeah.
So it's nice to have one that's a little bit more laid back, a little bit more slow. You can think about the words, and I think it's like it's a bit different. Like I haven't heard all of the songs yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know all the words in all the songs. But singing this one, I was actually able to hear all the words and sort of know where it came from you writing it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to throw a question at Sam here. So Sam and I wrote this song together, but it was mainly written by Sam. This song particularly. So this song is very close to him. So Sam, do you have any comments? Sort of. So where were you at when you were sort of writing this song?
Yeah. I mean, where do you start? So I started writing this song. It was originally I'd named it Sam's Project.
I think it may still be that originally in my phone.
Yeah, and I named it that while I was supposed to meet up with Connor, and Connor was running late because he was picking his parents up from the airport, and I was like, well, I've never tried to write a song by myself, so let's give it a go. Not really intending to show, and I couldn't. It was really interesting. Whenever I wrote with Connor, I could write about things that I didn't feel, and at the time, I didn't feel a lot of the things that we were writing. Like it just wasn't where I was at. But I could write about it, and it could be true for that moment. But I couldn't do it by myself. I couldn't write about something that I didn't feel, and so I was in a very bad bout of depression, and I was not happy, and I was really struggling. And I couldn't pray to God because I was either angry, sad, or didn't feel anything. And so I just thought, well, try and write a song about that. And so it's interesting because I was also trying to reshape the way I thought about my depression. And I didn't want to think in terms of a lot of people bang on about the Paul's thorn in his side, and you've just got to keep going and going and going. And I just didn't want to keep going anymore. Like I just, not in like a serious way, but like it just didn't feel like a healthy mindset.
Sure.
And so I was trying to look up lament psalms, especially because they talk about how bad the situation is, but they then say at the end, God is good. And if there's one thing I couldn't say at the time or couldn't say to God, it was God is good, you know? And so I wanted to write something that allowed me to say exactly what I felt, but at the end forced me to say, but he's good. And so that first verse originally was really a bit more depressing.
Yeah, it was probably a bit more like, I like to think maybe a bit more visual, which is probably a bit intense.
Yeah.
So like so this song was basically already written before I actually got there, because as I said, I was running a bit late, and we just sort of had a look at it, and I think we wrote the second verse together.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you go back and look at the lyrics, the second verse is actually a response to the first verse.
Every line is an answer to the line in the first verse.
Yeah,
so
first
like
verse.
when I fell into a hole, when I come down to you. And originally when we wrote it, it was like God had already done it.
Yeah.
And so it was like when I can't remember exactly what the lyrics were, but essentially it was saying he'd already come down, he'd already done this. And kind of when we finished writing that second verse, said, "Is that how you feel?" And I said, "No, because he hasn't done that yet.
Yeah.
I'm still sitting in that hole hoping he turns up."
So then we changed it to when you come down to me.
And it kind of became like a prayer.
Yeah.
Essentially. And then, you know, the bridge and the chorus were the other way around when I originally wrote it. I think kind of you helped me work on the chorus. The chorus now a little bit, but it was essentially this like chorus being, you know, your greatness extends. You're great in spite of all of this.
Yeah.
And the bridge kind of being this, I don't know, just guttural need of, you know, I've seen God move. I've seen him do things before. And because I've seen his face, I know this pain will go away, but it's not happening yet.
Yeah.
So it was a very healing song for me, I guess, in a way. And it was a way of getting out everything, like my frustration, my sadness, my numbness, like everything. So yeah, it's an interesting song, and it doesn't have to apply to depression. It can
that's right.
apply to anything, but for me, that's what it applies to. And so when I think about this song, I just think about what you see in the start of the song, where we have that shot of the sunrise, and it's like the sun just starting to peek out from the clouds. That really was what this song was for me, the sun starting to peek out a little bit. And then, you know, later we ended up rewriting the second verse from God's perspective, and so it was when I come down to you and take all your fears away. And that was really just, I was sitting there playing that in my room because I just rewrote those lyrics myself, and realizing that God had done that. He had come down. So yeah, I don't know. It's such a one
of the like sort of comments I made sort of when we were writing this is like, I have that feeling with this song that that there'll be people that will come to church and where they're getting ready to sing this song or watch our video and sing this song and be feeling the same way and be feeling like, wow, I'm in this point of struggle and like I am still in the hole. But I know God will come for me because God always comes to me. God will always find his lost sheep. And that's like this sort of this beautiful picture sort of I've painted in my mind of people like who are struggling, who are in pain, that can sort of talk about and sing these words. Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say is that I think it's a very unique song in the idea that God hasn't come yet. That it's like the in between where I think we often, one of the things we remarked about is that songs are either really, worship songs I find are either really focused on ourselves, or they're really focused on God and what he's already done. And so it felt really unique to write a song where God hasn't come yet, And while there is a focus on herself, it makes us say God is great at the end. And I think that is unique. I can't think of any other songs that do that.
Yeah, well, I definitely think the song is very unique. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I think you always get that unique feeling out of songs, especially when you draw like a raw part of yourself into it. And you always, because in the same way that every individual is different, it will then make each song different in the same sense.
Yeah. So I actually did when we filmed this, we filmed the song and then the message. And I originally was going to say that we should film the podcast instead, because I didn't actually want you to know about where the song came from, like how it was written, because I didn't want to affect what you were doing, if that makes sense. So I guess
say it again.
So what I didn't want to do the message or talk about how I wrote the song until after you performed it, because I didn't want to like change it for you or make it more pressure filled or even like just the way you approached it changed it.
Yeah, but if it like came from that, it like I still probably it doesn't change the way that I.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I guess the question is now, after hearing kind of the story of the song more, what are your thoughts about the song? Does it change anything for the song for you, like just out of interest?
I don't know. Not. I don't know. It's a bit hard because I haven't really gone through something like that. So it's a bit hard for me to feel it exact the same way with not have going through that experience. But like I've gone through stressful times, hard times. I had a bit of a hard times like through the years.
Yep.
That's years, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. So like I can put it to help you through a hard time. I guess when you're in struggles, you sometimes can't see the way that God's working through your struggle until you actually pop out the other end and you're like, oh, that's how God did. That's why I was there feeling it. And you go through, you grow through hard times as well. So I can put it to those, just not the same way you put it to yours.
But that's sort of what the song is like. It's very much, you come to it, like everyone's whole, metaphorically, everyone's whole is different. So that's sort of like the whole thing is you come in, when you sing this song, it's, oh, hey, like I came up to this problem in my life, personal. But like for obviously for you two, it would be a very different image. Yeah. But God works you through that. God comes down for you and takes that away.
Yeah. And I guess for me, this song, like, some of, like, because I deal with depression, but also anxiety. And when I started getting panic attacks a couple of years ago, what led me to get help about that, there was no Christian influence in that. Like, I heard someone talking online about depression on a stream, and they were just talking about it and saying, this sucks, you know, we can do this. It wasn't a Christian influence. And so I went and got help because of someone who wasn't Christian. And I've never really had any Christian thinking around it. And so I've really struggled with, well, how does this work with God? Like, how does bigger picture, not just depression, but like, how does our whole moments work with God? Like, where it doesn't seem fair, it doesn't seem right, and it just kind of happens. And so I didn't want someone else to also feel like that, that they didn't know how to think. And I tended to go really nihilistic, which is a philosophical term for just like, you know, just going, there is no meaning in anything.
Sure.
Because I couldn't see the way that it worked with God until I kind of read lament psalms and stuff like that, where it was, you know, people going, God, you said this was how it was going to be, and it's not, and that's not fair. What am I supposed to do about that?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know. For anyone out there that deals with this sort of stuff, like, it's a work in progress, but hopefully it can be a song where you can at least go, here's some Christian influence around that thinking, but also in general, like everyone has their own hole. Everyone sometimes has shattered pieces. Life doesn't always go our way. And often what we choose to do is to not say anything. And I think God would rather us be angry than not talk. At least that's what I see in Scripture. And as long as we can then bring that back into, but God is good. And I think one of the mistakes we make is not necessarily talking to God. Let's not complain. Let's not say this is bad. Because that might offend God. But I think God gets offended more by us not talking to him. That's right. Because it's a relationship. So that's kind of what this song means in a sense, is I'm going to still talk to you even though I fell into a hole. That's Returning Hope. It's a cool song. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. We worked really hard on it. But yeah, that's what it is. So Kirsten, thanks for joining us. You are an awesome keyboardist and an awesome person. We're very glad that we've gotten to know you.
Have you had fun?
No.
That's a shame.
I'm joking.
Kirsten's getting better at our sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
If you don't, a little bit of context is we constantly prank Kirsten in like a fun, friendly way. But we definitely prank her.
Yes.
That's sort of become the thing to do a little bit. So,
but she's
catching on now. She's jumping on the train, so it doesn't work as well, but it makes it better.
Yes. I'm very impressed. So, thanks for watching, guys. This has been the Make Creative Podcast. We will see you next time. Have an awesome week.
See you later.
Bye.
When you come down to me and take my fears away, renew my spirit.